Hi, this is Barbara from Scrappy Mania. Today I got a real quick project for you, and it's creating your own watercolor palettes. You may have some of these old little cheap watercolor tubes lying around your house, and for the longest time this is how I stored it. And I never poured it out. The color that you see on the tube is not sometimes true to the color that really comes out of the tube. So I've been watching a lot of videos, especially from Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, and she does teach you how to create your palettes. And I love when she's doing her watercolor art. I see the palette, set aside a little off camera, and I love how she had the colors arranged. I never arranged my color that way. I did use this palette at one point, but I had like reds over here, yellows over here. It was all mixed out. I had blues with the yellows. It was not the way that it should be, like in the color wheel. So I decided, I cleaned it out, and I decided to really do it right. And even though my paints are not the best, you still could do it a good job. And I'm not really, I'm a crafter. I'm not a watercolor artist or do sell my paintings. So this is pretty good for me. I mean, I think I can use that pretty much. So I went ahead and just used the color wheel, and I put my browns, yellows, reds, then blues, and then the neutral colors. And then I went ahead and cut a little piece of watercolor paper, and I used this to measure it out, and I cut it out, and then I make sure I made the lines to separate each of them. And then I did the same thing. I just took a little bit of watercolor, a little bit of my paint, some water, and just put it on these wells. So these will be the same as over here. Now this tube, because they're really cheapo tubes, so it kind of broke. The tube broke. So I had to put it, because I didn't want to waste it, so I went ahead and put it on here. So as soon as I use this one up, we'll clean that out, and I still have this one to go. But it looks pretty good. I'm happy what I did. I really like this palette now. You have to let it dry, completely dry. So I'm going to let this dry overnight. Actually, maybe 2 or 3 days, because I'm not going to come back to my craft room until next Friday. Today is Sunday, so I have a whole week. I'm going to leave this like this for a whole week, and then I'll use it next week. And hopefully they will not come out. The trouble that I had early on with this palette is when I did put some of these watercolor paints on it, the whole pan, the whole watercolor will come out of it, and I'll show you what I mean. So this is what I had in this palette. So it was in there, and then it just pulled out. So what I did is, maybe I'm thinking that the palette, since I never washed it when I pour this in there, it may still have some residual oils from when they made the palette. So what I did is I went ahead and I got some of that stuff in there. Oops. Okay. So what I did is I emptied it out, and I've saved it here because I can always use that. You submerge it in water, may use it again. Anyhow, I cleaned it, completely cleaned it out, and make sure that there was no oils in there. And then I re-pour my watercolors. So I'm going to see this time if the watercolor will stay and not pull out like it happened with these. It just came out as I was using it. So I'm hoping it will stay, but if it doesn't stay, it's still kind of a good idea to have it all grouped like that. I like how it came out. So I hope I gave you an idea, an inspiration of what you can do with your little tubes of watercolor. Create your palette, and you can be ready for painting. And I hope you liked this tutorial, and thank you for watching. Bye now.